Watch everything change when you apply this story framework to your life. Quick backstory. So I went to film school. It must have been finished like 12 years ago now, right? And obviously learned all about story throughout film school. And I've been working with cameras and story and in the industry for, well, since then, essentially. And it isn't until maybe 2-3 years ago that I really, really got obsessed with story and started seeing story everywhere. And then this is when I kind of came up with applying this story framework to my life. And everything has gotten really interesting since then. And that's why I would definitely recommend just having a listen to this, because it might change everything for you as well. So there's a whole bunch of different story frameworks, right? And you could find a more complex one if you wanted to. But the simplest one that I have found and love is Dan Harmon's plot embryo or story circle. And he, if you don't know Dan Harmon, he created Community, easily the best show to ever exist ever. And obviously Rick and Morty as well. He has moved on to other things now. But yeah, one of the biggest genius writers of our generation, right? And he's simplified it into 8 simple steps. And he's got a little story circle. I'll pop it up on the screen at some point so you can follow along. But if you can apply this to your life, as if you are the hero of a movie, you are the hero of this story. And you've probably heard that before. It sounds cliche. It sounds silly. But like when you actually listen to the rest of this, it'll hopefully make sense. So to start with, all stories happen like this. Every single story. And I was literally at a movie last night, and I was going through these ticking points in my head for the character, right? And I was like, oh, cool. The character's hit this point now, and it's hit that point now. Okay. A character is in a zone of comfort or familiarity, right? You are just in your, like, you're adapted, you're just normal, you're happy where you are right now, okay? And I'll pull in an example of a close friend of mine who has recently really wanted to get a new job, okay? They were in a zone of familiarity, right? That was their normal life, okay? And then you desire something, okay? And the thing about this is there is like a bunch of different story timelines like this happening in your life right now. And if you can zoom out, it really gives you context for things. And when you know where you're actually at in this story circle on each of these different macro and micro little story journeys, then it gives you context for what you need to do to actually finish that story, right? And the only thing that's interesting about story is conflict, right? And all stories, they have a hero, they have a villain. Generally, they have a guide, someone that's guiding the hero to get to the thing, right? And so there's all these different elements. And if you can take these into account and apply them to yourselves, then you go, oh, right, I'm just here right now, and I have to do this, and then I'll get to there, right? So moving on, they desire something. So say you want something, right? So my friend wanted a new job. They were where they're at, okay? They were who they were, and they wanted a new job, all right? They enter an unfamiliar situation, right? And so this could be you. Again, think about all the different levels of this in your life. So they started applying for jobs, right? This is already unfamiliar. They had to get their resume together. They had to apply for some jobs. They had to go to interviews, right? So this is all unfamiliar. And then they adapt to that situation. Now, this is where all of the conflict and character development comes from, right? So she got that job, okay? And obviously there was a lot of character development in the entering unfamiliar situation stage. But she actually got the job, right? And then what came with the job was a whole bunch of other stress. There was a whole bunch of things she needed to learn. There was a bunch of training she had to go through. There's a bunch of different stressful people within that role that she has to deal with. There's a lot of interpersonal conflict that she has to deal with and figure out how to interact with people. So she's adapting to that situation, right? And this is where the majority of the character development, as I said, happens, okay? They get what they wanted, okay? So they wanted a new job. They wanted a little bit more money. They wanted to change things up, gain a different perspective in the industry, all those different things. That's what they desired, right? Generally, something about what you desire as well has to do with your identity. So yeah, you want a new job, but what else comes with that? Oh, it's a new me, right? And so they get what they wanted. So she got the new job, right? But obviously she had to go through all of these different things to get to that stage, right? And then they pay a heavy price for it. So there's a lot of heavy price within that, okay? And that is, it's much harder on her life. She has much less time to herself, okay? Like, yeah, there's like a little bit more money and it's a little bit different of a role, but there's much more responsibility, okay? She has to take on a little bit more stress. So there's a big heavy price with that. Generally in movies, there's one main heavy price, right, that the characters pay. One of their friends passes away, like dies or something, you know? And then they return to a familiar situation. So she's the same person that she was before, right? But she's in a new situation. So she's changed. And this is the only thing that keeps people watching anything. This is the only thing that makes movies or TV shows interesting, is characters changing, right? So you see what I'm getting at here. If you can apply this to your life, if you go, oh my God, I want something, okay? So how do I get that thing? So I have to enter an unfamiliar situation, right? And then, oh my God, I have to develop myself as a character to adapt to that situation. And this is where, if you can zoom out and gain this context in this portion, when you're like, oh my God, I'm stressed, like everything's annoying, like I'm scared, like I'm not confident in myself and all these different things. Guess what? You are just adapting to an unfamiliar situation, and you're a hero in this story arc, okay? And when you adapt to that situation and you become this new version of yourself, then you'll get what you want, right? And then after you get what you want, you have no doubt paid a heavy price for it. You've lost your previous self, which comes with a whole bunch of other things with it, depending on the circumstance in your particular minor or major story arc that you're going through, right? So and then you'll return to a familiar situation, and then as a result of that, she changed. So she was a different person. So another really quick one, just to run through another example that I have identified in my life recently. I joined CrossFit, right? And I've just been going to the gym by myself for like 7-8 years, right? Thought that I was training hard, but oh my God, I was not. So I was in a zone of familiarity, right? I was at my own gym, okay? Going to the gym every single day, doing my own thing, okay? Thinking that I was, this is where I'm at, right? And then I wanted something, right? Maybe a little bit more community. I wanted to maybe lose a little bit more body fat, maybe make some more strength gains, get a little bit fitter, something along those lines. So I entered an unfamiliar situation. I joined this CrossFit gym, right? I had to adapt to that situation, right? So I had to socialize with new people. I had to obviously deal with how hard it was. It was quite intense. I had to maybe eat a little bit more food. I had to wake up a little bit early, all these different things. I had to adapt to that situation, right? And then I got what I wanted. So it's been like almost 3 months now. I'm definitely a little bit fitter, right? I've gained a little bit more community. And all the different things that come along with that. I've got what I wanted, right? So I've paid a heavy price for that. I have to get up a little bit earlier. Also, the gym costs much more money. So that's like a heavy price, you might say. It takes much more effort. And then I have to rush around a little bit more before, in my morning routine. So there's all these different heavy prices that I have to pay. And then I return to a familiar situation, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. This is my gym now. So I'm just going to the gym like normal, right? But I have changed as a result of that. So again, this is just a mini version of this story arc. And there wasn't necessarily a problem. But if you can frame yourself as this hero of this story, it's actually incredible what you can achieve. Because as I said, it just gives you context. So you zoom out, and when you're in the thick of it and you're like, oh my God, I hate this. I just want to quit. I don't want to do this. Like, this is too hard. Everybody hates me. I can't do this. Whatever it is, right? You are just a hero of a story, okay? And there is somebody or something to defeat. And generally, where you're stuck, you are going to just need to adapt to the situation. And when you adapt to that situation, you go around this story circle. And again, it's been incredible to apply this to my life because I see it everywhere now. And then I see it in other people as well. I'm like, oh, you want something. I can see that you want something, So guess what? If you actually want that thing, then you are going to have to enter an unfamiliar situation, and you have to choose to do that. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting there wanting that thing, right? So anyway, this has been really incredible for me, and it just really just actually keeps life interesting because, it's just a different context to look at things through, a different lens to look at things through. And it's really empowering as well because, as I said, there's like the CrossFit example, it's like there's no problems there. I'm just like, I want to go to a new gym. Or I'm a hero in a story circle, and then you have to go through this thing, right? And it obviously was uncomfortable. I'll go there. I don't know anybody. And these are the things. And I'm like, okay, but what would a hero do? He would go out of his way to be like, hey, how you going? My name's Aimon, I didn't even do the intro for this video. Hey creators, Aimon here, and I help creators find purpose and profit, right? Anyway, hopefully you've gotten some value out of this video. Let me know if there's any other elements of stories that you'd like to introduce into your life, because this has been incredible for me and I just absolutely love this. And I talk to everybody about it because I'm just so passionate about it. But yeah, it's been a game changer for me, and every person I tell it to, it's been a game changer for them. So hopefully it can be a game changer for you as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you're obsessed with story like me, leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.